Today's number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Mondays 23 studios opens again here on Nigeria Info. I'm Sherif Quadry. Ufouma Egbamuno is here. Ufouma is the news manager at Wazobia Info FM Lagos. Ufouma, good morning to you once again.
Hello, Sherif. Thank you for making me rush out of my house without brushing my hair or using the towel to clean the water on my hair. But it's fine. Good morning. It's what we do, and we've been doing this before the elections. But of course, the whole of Saturday and most of Sunday, and of course we're continuing today because it's part of our responsibility to ensure that the Lagosian who's listening, and including those outside of Lagos listening in the neighboring states via radio, and of course outside of the state and the country listening via mobile apps, our duty is to ensure that they get the very best of information, and that's what we're doing here. That's right, and we've been doing this before the elections, and we'll continue to do it until the eventual winner is announced by INEC National Coalition Center, INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu in Abuja. The Coalition Center reopens at 11 this morning. If you're watching on Facebook and on YouTube, you're welcome to join us and let us know your thought, your assessment of the elections, the presidential election and the National Assembly elections held on the 25th of February last Saturday. Let's know your assessment of the process. That's if you monitored the entire process. Either you're there at the polling unit or you just monitored it generally. If you're an observer as well, I would like to get your thought as well as regards how things panned out in places that you visited. Okay, and many thanks to all of our resource persons who joined us in the studio virtually all through the coverage. We love you and thank you for the good work that all of you do on Saturday, Sunday. They've been amazing, and plus those that we've been using before the elections, because there were some that we wanted to bring, but then the elections, they had some national call to duty that they had to go and answer, so we couldn't bring them in. But thank you all the same. Thank you. Ufouma, let's begin with your own assessment of the elections of Saturday. Oh wow. My assessment will be based on coverage from Nigeria Info, Wazobia Info reporters, as well as the eyewitnesses we actually got. I only stepped out of the office, on a few occasions to go to the polling unit that's very close to our office here, and I was quite impressed with the numbers I saw, and the people who were ready and waiting to actually ensure that they cast their votes. But generally speaking, I think we've had a few good things and some not so great things. Let me start with the good ones. Okay. I think one of the good things about this election is the fact that we have been able to reduce to a reasonable extent overvoting. And I mean, maybe overvoting is not the word, but
ballot stuffing. That time.
Maybe not necessarily ballot stuffing, because I think I've seen some videos and I've seen some accusations of ballot stuffing. What I'm trying to say is, okay, let me give the example.
Okay.
In the 2015 election, we had the card reader, and then there was the issue of, okay, what happens when the card reader doesn't work? And INEC, of course, told us there's going to be incident form, where if the card doesn't read you, you go use the form to vote. To a large extent, Sherif, that enabled a lot of malpractice. I'll give you a very good example. The Kano result from 2023, from this Saturday, has not been officially released at the National Coalition Center. Katsina. But it's been released in the state, at the state level.
Right.
The total number of votes in Katsina is not up to 1 million. Go back to 2015. It was way more than that. In Kano, we had about 2.5 or thereabout million votes from Kano in 2015. 1.2 or thereabout of those votes were actually done by incident forms. So the card didn't read them, but they used incident forms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure all of the Kano results have been released, but the ones I've seen, Sheriff, we are not going to get even half of that number from Kano. Remember the saying always, for Nigerians have always been, not to worry, wait for the KKK states, the Kardashian states as we call them. But in 2023, we're not going to see that, and this is not just about the Northwest that I'm talking about. It's all across. We also saw a number of those incident forms used in the South, maybe not as much as it was used in the North, but it was still used. But we're not seeing all of that. So I think in that instance, that's a good thing, because what that means is that if you don't have a PVC, and kudos to INEC also, INEC said if you don't have a PVC, you're not going to vote. So that cut out all of those avenues for possible malpractice. So in that sense, I think that's a good thing for us. Another good thing I would think is that there was a lot of enthusiasm ahead of this election. We're yet to see the final numbers now to be certain if truly voter turnout is as huge as we expected it to be. I doubt if it will get to the 2003 numbers. 20 years ago, we had over 60% voter turnout. Some would argue that maybe there was also malpractice then, but that's a story for another day. The point I'm trying to make is that in 2019, on the contrary, there was huge voter apathy. But I think that at least from preliminary results, I think that we possibly have more numbers than we had in 2019. I doubt if we will get to the 2003 numbers. But on the flip side, Sheriff, INEC kept telling us that they were ready. The chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, kept insisting that he and the commission were ready. Sadly, from what we saw on Saturday, it didn't look like they were really, really ready.
First and foremost, I want to talk to you about what you mentioned about voter apathy. Then we'll come to INEC in a bit. Did we essentially have voter apathy in Lagos? Looking at what you see, what you can see, what is right in front of us, what everybody saw on Saturday.
No, we didn't.
Compared to the results that have coming so far, right now we are just about
2 more local governments are thereabout
away, and if they add those two together, it can be up to 2 million.
No, I'm not even sure it's going to be up to 1.5.
Do you understand? Like, and out of about, is it 7 million PVC collected in Lagos?
Give or take, yes.
Yeah. Is that an improvement?
So I don't think it was voter apathy. I think, which was what I was coming to. I think it was part of the logistics issues that INEC had. For a lot of the polling units, a majority of the polling units in Lagos, we possibly don't have the numbers, but for judging from the reports our reporters got across the field, at least we were spread along various areas in the state, from the Ojo axis to the Alimosho axis to the Aja axis. We had all of these areas covered. So from the reports I got from my colleagues in the newsroom, a majority of the INEC officials did not get to the polling units on time. Remember, the elections were supposed to start 8:30. For a lot of the polling units, INEC officials did not get there till at least 10. Some had to wait till 11. In fact, in some areas, in some pockets of areas, they didn't even come until 12:30, 1 o'clock. In some areas, they came, elections took place, but there were a large number of persons who could also not vote, possibly because there were limited resources in these areas, like maybe an area where you have a large turnout. I think there was a particular incident in somewhere around the Ajao Estate axis where you had over 1,000 voters who were there, but didn't get up to 200. I think it was about 200 or thereabout people that eventually voted, because there was only one Beavers machine there, and there were not more than 2 or 3 INEC officials. So it dragged the process a little slow. So I honestly think it wasn't voter apathy.
Okay.
I think it was a question of logistics issues. To be fair also to INEC, because let it not look like we're just criticizing them without giving them some benefit of the doubt. To be fair to them, let's also not forget that the country has been experiencing 3+ months of petrol scarcity. That's a big issue. Let's also not forget that we've had Naira scarcity. Yes, INEC eventually at the center on a few days to the election told us that they've gotten a substantial amount of the monies they needed. But Sherif, you and I understand the bureaucracy in Nigeria.
Right.
So for some of the polling units in Lagos, the report was that some of the officials were waiting to get their monies paid to them before they will leave the rack room at the local government level.
Right.
So that cost, of course, if I'm at the local government level, waiting to get paid before I will leave for the wards and the polling unit, it also means that what's it called? It means that I'm going to arrive there late. So I think all of this costs some of the issues.
Ufouma, we're going to break away now. Our colleagues at TVC, they're currently speaking with INEC's voter education commissioner, National Commissioner Festus Okoye. Let's take a listen to him, and then we'll be right back.
So we are moving ahead. After the 2023 general election, the commission will further improve on the input of technology into the electoral process, but ultimately human beings conduct election, and we are going to continue with our civic and voter education so that the Nigerian people will continue to understand what we do and continue to understand the trajectory of the electoral process and their own input into the electoral process, because as the chairman continues to emphasize, the conduct and administration of a good election is a shared responsibility. It's a multi-stakeholder venture. Unless all of us gather together and agree and develop that ultimate democratic spirit that allows us to believe in the rule of law and due process, and also have fidelity to our national institutions, it will be a long way. But I believe that with the progress we have made, with the type of trust and engagement the Nigerian people have with the electoral process, we are making progress. But we are making progress slowly. We don't want to begin to run very, very fast and then stumble on the way. We want to make progress and make progress slowly.
Talking about progress, one of the progress that we have reported in the recent election has been early arrival of materials, and then the journalists talked about it, that INEC has really improved, but it reared its ugly head again in some parts of the nation during this election. Did the cash crunch or the Naira scarcity play any particular role in this?
Well, I will not. We didn't move materials with the speed we felt we needed to move materials. We didn't arrive some polling units with the speed and at the time we felt we ought to arrive, because we prepared well for this election, and we don't want to offer excuses or make excuses for ourselves. This election was conducted within the context of so many challenges. The challenge of security. Some of the transporters who we engaged backed out at the last moment on grounds that they can't guarantee the safety of their vehicles. Some of the core members and some of the students in federal tertiary institutions in their penultimate year that were supposed to serve as presiding officers and as assistant presiding officers, some of them backed away at the last moment on grounds of security challenges. So we had to recalibrate, and that recalibration, that remobilizing in some states of the federation did not happen at the speed we envisaged. But valuable lessons have been learned, and we believe that going forward we are going to do much better than we did this time around.
So you're saying the commission got all the cash it needed as promised by the CBN?
We got funds that we needed to pay the transporters and also pay the ad hoc staff because the bulk of our transactions in terms of works and services are paid electronically. So what we needed was the small cash that will enable us to pay ad hoc staff their transportation allowance and also pay transporters for the services they rendered on election day.
What's the preliminary assessment you are getting as to vote buying? Because that's one of the reasons why the federal government mopped up cash from the people. Did it work?
I don't have any information relating to that because we were focused on delivering on our mandate. I've not been focused in relation to those areas. Maybe when we are slightly more relaxed, we'll get information from the ICPC, from the EFCC, and some of these other security agencies who we are engaged with that particular process, because we had meetings with them, we had consultations with them, and they assured us that they were going to deploy their personnel to polling units to make sure that nobody violates the sanctity of the polling units. But I have not paid attention to the issue of vote buying. We paid attention to making sure that we complete this process and that this movement to various levels of coalition starts in earnest.
So while we're waiting for 6 p.m. for the coalition to start in earnest, what can you tell Nigerians? How can they confirm the figures that you are reading about online? Is there any alternative to this coalition center as we speak to be able to be sure that they are not feeding on fake news?
Now, if you look at Section 25 of the Electoral Act, the Commission is the only agency, the Commission is the only organ, the Commission is the only commission authorized to announce election results and make declarations and return. No other individual is authorized to do that, because the moment results begin to fly from one network to the other, from one social media to the other, it creates tension and also it creates challenges for the country. So I will advise that people should be circumspect. People should be very, very careful in the way they release information and figures relating to what they saw at the polling unit, or what they had at the collation center, or what they got at other levels, and be patient enough to wait for the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, who has been given that constitutional power and constitutional responsibility to make a declaration and also make a return.
Dr. Okoye, you're experienced in this. You have worked with INEC in previous elections. Nigerians want to know how long more it would take to know the next president of this country. You must be able to tell us how long more, given what you have noticed, in this ongoing election.
Nigeria will have a president based on satisfaction of constitutional and legal requirements. Our resident electoral commissioners are working hard to make sure that the various levels of collation are completed and completed on time. So I'm sure Nigerians are not going to wait for too long. We are anxious to complete this process. Nigerians are anxious to know who they are.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Just give us a guess.
We are going to complete this process speedily.
Speedily.
Yes.
There you go. Festus Okoye, who was speaking with TVC yesterday. That's what you just heard. Now, Ufouma, let's pick it up from where they stopped. Looking at the way results are coming in, how long do you think this is going to take?
Maybe till possibly Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
Or Tuesday morning. I'm not sure we're going to get everything complete today. I'm not certain of that. But that's also another issue I have. I thought it would be a lot faster. I didn't think we were going.
I think everybody thought it was going to be faster.
Yes, and it should have been faster.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Me, I'm not afraid of that man.
Me too.
What can he really do?
I hope you people are discussing about paying me my rent.
Ogala, about the upcoming elections.
Nonsense. Don't tell me to calm down. Your mates are at the Akamata Community Square selling their votes for 5,000 naira. But you are here doing what I don't know.
Oga landlord, do you know that 5,000 naira spread over the next 4 years is just 4 naira per day? Is this what we should sell our votes for? God forbid.
Oga landlord, wise up. We must vote in the right people this time, instead of selling our votes to people who have nothing good to offer our community.
That one is your business. You ladies better go and collect yours. if that will help you gather my rent at the end of the month. Do not listen to people like this landlord. Election is not a business venture. It is your civic duty to your country to help elect the right leaders who would create a better life for you and a great future for your children. Do not sell your future. Do not sell your vote. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the MacArthur Foundation.
Some are calling Group B the Group of Death as they beg to differ Tournament of Champions. Hamid Olarawaju is a past quarter-finalist and finalist and has only ever been beaten by champions. He wants revenge against Anvita Kaushik and Esther Bewaji, but first, he must make it out of this group. Redemption is also calling for Ramadan Oladipupo, people's champion. Beaten in a controversial semi-final, he's here to prove that maybe he should have been in this group as an actual champion. But that title belongs to Ruth Okorocha. She beat the debater who beat Ramadan. Can she beat him too? Find out this March at the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
There is a huge difference between the relative experience of salary earners and those of business owners and entrepreneurs. Someone who has never had cause to set up a business of his, who has never had cause to source for funds, turn it around, pay salaries, pay back the loan, and still make profit cannot be expected to be hands-on when saddled with an economy the size of Lagos. Experience that hasn't curbed Lagos's traffic in 24 years of their reign. Experience that hasn't addressed Lagos's perennial flood. Experience that currently leaves us with over 2 million out-of-school children. The duo of Jando and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing people with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jando as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
So special to us, golden more, so special to us. I can't afford a day without this goodness in the bowl, giving energy to make it stay golden. Golden more, so special to us.
My guy, make we dey go now. Our guys dey wait o. Bros, my body no gree cooperate today o. Which kind yawa be that? Abeg come sit down, Joe. Sit down? Yes. The thing no gree me now. Abi that your pile wahala don come again?
Oh, pile wahala no be small thing o. Na so e go dey start you. If it swell up or to dey comot blood sef, to sit down sef na gbege. That's why I say make you tackle my problem with Anudol suppositories. Anudol suppositories get bismuth subgalate, balsam peru and zinc oxide to tackle pile. So you go fit dey kampe to do your work sharp sharp.
Oh yeah, my guys. Make we go. Madam do good. One bottle for my guys.
Hey! Anudol suppositories. Now your relief for pile. Anudol suppositories. Now they need industries they make am. Make una read the product leaflet too. If after 2 days you no better, go see your doctor.
Every day is a good day when you've got what it takes. Cowbell evaporated milk gives your body what it needs. Say nourish no. Happy cowbell day, creamy goodness so.
Cowbell evaporated milk is delicious milk that is carefully formulated to retain its creaminess and great taste.
So creamy, so good.
Cowbell evaporated milk, so creamy, so good.
Cowbell, I want milk.
At Access, we are 28,000 employees, 180,000 agents, 700 branches, 180,000 connected POS, and 2,883 ATMs strong, serving our more than 52 million customers in Africa, Europe, Asia, and UAE across 17 countries. With a total asset of 15 trillion naira, we are the largest bank in Nigeria and top 10 in Africa. So, to the determined side hustler, the happy-go-lucky youth, the tech-savvy entrepreneur, the moms and dads with bright lives to build, the market woman with big dreams for growth, the global citizens with their roots in our soils. We are here to stay, through thick and thin. We stand with you. Access, more than banking.
There is a huge difference between the relative experience of salary earners and those of business owners and entrepreneurs. Someone who has never had cause to set up a business of his, who has never had cause to source for funds, turn it around, pay salaries, pay back the loan, and still make profit cannot be expected to be hands-on when saddled with an economy the size of Lagos. Experience that hasn't curbed Lagos's traffic in 24 years of their reign. Experience that hasn't addressed Lagos's perennial flood. Experience that currently leaves us with over 2 million out-of-school children. The duo of Jando and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing peoples with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jando as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Mandates 2023, Mandate 2023 on a Monday, yeah? 8:34 is time. I'm Sherif. Quadry Ufouma is here, and we're still talking about the review of the elections of Saturday. Ufouma, we're looking at, before the break, we're talking about the assessment of INEC's performance in last Saturday's election. I want to speed this up, right? How would you rate the performance of Beavers from what our reporters told you, from what you've heard, from what you've monitored?
I think it's been amazing. I think the introduction of Beavers is a game changer. Sherif, if we did not have the human factor, if we went through the process the way it should be, I'm not sure we'll be having the pockets of agitations or planned agitations that we've heard about over the last 2 days. Here's why I say so. Lagos has almost 7 million registered voters. The total number of votes last will not be more than 1.5 or let's say 2 million. But that's usually the number you get from Lagos. But go switch the phone a bit and flip to the traditional KKK states. I was talking about it earlier. Kanu recorded over 2 million votes in 2015. Kanu has not recorded more than 1.5. I'm not sure even it's up to 1.5, but I'll leave it because I'm not sure they've concluded voting. But they're not going to get up to 1.5 in 2023. You would argue why? Same thing in Katsina. Katsina recorded, I think, 1.9 in 2015. Slightly lower in 2019 because, like I said, there was voter apathy. But in 2023, Katsina is not getting up to 1 million votes. Sherif, it's the Beavers that is working. It's the Beavers that ensures that first you have to have a PVC and there's no incident form, where it can be prone to manipulation. And then after you have the PVC, you also need to be authenticated. And the number, so when you have the total number of registered voters, total number of accredited voters, it cannot be manipulated. The Electoral Act before now ensured that what was used was the number of registered voters. So, for example, in your polling unit, if you have 5,000 registered voters, maybe 1,000 people will come to vote. But the politicians will go back and allegedly in the collation centers, they know that the total number of voters in that unit is 5,000, maybe 1,000 people came out. They will now inflate the figures, but they are very smart. They will ensure that they don't get past that 5,000. So indeed, you think in reality 1,000 people came out, but when the results will come out, you'll be seeing numbers like 4,000 plus, because the law before now said you could use number of registered voters. However, the Electoral Act 2022 cuts that off. What will now be used is total number of accredited voters. So once the BVAS has been used to accredit everybody, and 400 people voted in that unit, you cannot change it more than 400. If you, for any reason, add 1 to it, it cancels that unit. That's a good thing, and that's why you've not seen a lot of these inflated numbers or alleged inflated numbers as we have had in time past. So credit to INEC and the introduction of BVAS. I think one of the major worries, which of course you've seen the some of the political parties talk about, is the fact that the Electoral Act, the process that the Electoral Act gave, was not followed through. The Electoral Act 2022 gave INEC the powers to conduct the elections and give the guidelines of how they want to conduct the elections. I think section 65(2) or thereabout. Let me not give. I'll look for it, so I don't give wrong information. But the bottom line of what I was trying to say is that the Electoral Act gives INEC the powers to conduct and issue out the guidelines. Now, one of the guidelines INEC put out was that it's going to follow a process. The process will be, you go to your polling unit, BVAS accredits you, you vote almost immediately. Remember before, it used to be you accredit, you go home, and then you come back to vote. But now, as you are getting accredited, you go to vote. Afterwards, ballot papers are sorted, counted, and then announced in the polling units, and then written down on the EC8, I think, form. And then all political party agents sign. And afterwards, the presiding officers in those polling units, after the results have been called and parties have signed, and there's no issue with anything, the results uploaded on the INEC portal. That's the process. However, what we've seen in a large number of areas, both in Lagos and across the country, is that a lot of the electoral officers bypassed a very critical part of that process, which is they did not upload those polling unit results on the portal. Now, some reasons have been given from some of the reports we got from our reporters. Some of the polling officers did that deliberately. Some said they were not going to uphold, and when questions were asked, they said it was the instructions that they've been given by their line managers. Now the question would be, who gave those instructions? Festus Okoye was on TV yesterday, and he said that INEC is actually concerned that their officers in the respective local units are not doing what was supposed to have been done. So some of the officers did that deliberately. Some suggested that it was network issues. But on the flip side, you ask yourself, in some of those polling units, National Assembly results were being uploaded. Results for the Senate, results for National House of Reps were being uploaded. But when it now came down to that of the presidency, some were saying network issues. And you saw that in some polling units, the people who came to vote kept insisting that if upload this thing for this place, they go anywhere. And for me, that because of that human factor and not following through the process, it's now raised a lot of suspicions and doubts. Let me go back again, to what I've said repeatedly. Issues don't usually happen at polling units. Politicians have been smart enough to wait for you to vote in your polling units and dance and do your videos and all of that, and they wait in the collation centers where in most cases allegedly numbers are changed in collusion with the officials, sometimes even at gunpoint. We've had reports of presiding officers coming out to say, I signed this under, in fact, what am I even saying? At the Lagos Collation Center in Yaba yesterday, there was the report of a particular local government where the one of the agents said he signed, because he was at gunpoint. So usually that's what happens. However, INEC introduced this portal to cut that process so that when you put out the results on the portal, if you now go to the local government or the wards and you do any abracadabra there, the numbers will not tally when you come to the final collation.
Do you think if INEC has mapped out the processes to be followed from one process to another and to another, and any of those processes is jumped, should that be enough to invalidate such results?
I'm not.
Reason for this is this, right? Most of the states, they're announcing results, but we can't get the results
in the portal.
So, and that should be the traditionally, according to the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, that should be the process.
Yes,
right. Why are they not following it? And should it be? I mean, you've mentioned some have given examples. I mean, reasons network. Some have said we don't have password and whatever. Some have said we've been instructed not to.
Yep.
Should this be enough to invalidate such results?
Probably yes. But I would leave the liberals or Shawmas and the Mondo Banis of this world, to give that interpretation, because I'm not a lawyer, So, but I think that should be. However, Sherif, it is very rare. In fact, it has not happened in Nigeria where the results of the presidential elections are upturned by the judiciary. It has never happened. The closest we've come was the 1979 election, where famously we had some mathematical abracadabra where they said 2/3 was the number that it ought not to be. If you remember, that's how Shehu Shagari won. Technically, he should not have been declared winner, but the judiciary at the time did, and gave us some mathematical equation that didn't add up. Mathematics is supposed to add up, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, after that, the closest we've come, is the 2019 elections. We had an almost split decision, 4-3, in favor of the sitting president at the time, who was still the president, Muhammadu Buhari. So 4 of the justices were in favor of upholding the election. 3 did not agree. Now, here's what I think. It's very tough to do that, because what that would mean is you could possibly open up the country to anarchy. Because if let's give this scenario now. President Buhari is the outgoing president. By May 29th, he ceases to be president. Let's, for a reason, say one of Peter Obi, Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, or Rabiu Kwankwaso, one of them becomes president. And then 2-3 months after, the Supreme Court, when the matter must have gotten there, because obviously it will get there, now says, oh no, as a result of infractions here and there on the Electoral Act, this result cannot stand. Sheriff, can you imagine what the possibility would be? Let's say, for example, it's Peter Obi that won. And the Supreme Court now says, oh no, because of these infractions, you can't be president. We have to redo the elections. Do you know what's going to be the interpretation? Oh, you have refused to give the Igbo presidency for God knows how long. Now that we have managed to win it, you want to take it out of our hands. That's going to be it. If it's Atiku Abubakar or Rabiu Kwankwaso that wins, trust me, that will also be the same narrative that, oh, we have won this thing and now you want to take it away from. So I honestly think that sometimes when the judiciary makes some of their pronouncements, apart from the the technicalities or the legalities of the case in front of them, there's also that part of trying to consider
the greater good.
So I don't know if eventually this could be a ground to upturn the result, but I think it's a big infraction, and like Festus Okoye said yesterday, the INEC is concerned about it.
Indeed. Let's take a few calls. Then we'll talk about voter suppression in Lagos here, as reported, but in the social media and in the news as well. We're going to take a few calls now. 012770993, 2771993, 2772993, and 2773993. Call the smart number 0700 993 993 993. We have a line for the female callers. And that line is 01465 7190. That is 01465 7190. And our WhatsApp has been going on overdrive since morning. WhatsApp number is 0809 597 5805. Please turn off your radio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Quadry.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ufouma Egbamuno. Thank you so much for your analysis. Honestly, there is a lot of abacabra. In fact, the word you use is very good in that position to use. In fact, I can see INEC have betrayed us, because INEC, in many places that talks have been invented, if we were there, you saw, at least you witnessed some.
I did not witness.
Okay.
My reporters witnessed, and we got eyewitness callers too.
But I guess they are not lying everywhere. They are not lying. You can see the election is not well conducted at all. It's not well conducted.
All right.
But I thank you for that analysis that you have been giving to us. In fact, you have made my mind to calm down. If not, I have been bowling since morning. I've been listening to
Calm down.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling. Appreciate it. Let's take another call. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my name is Hussein. I'm calling from Kushofe.
You have to open your mouth. We can't hear you.
Hussein calling from Kushofe.
Oh, Seni. Okay. Go on.
Yeah, I just want to correct something before I go to my contribution.
Okay.
I think the election that the judges split is 2007 election between Eradua and Buhari. That's why the judges split 4 and 3. But in the 2019 election, the judges are synonymous that Buhari won the election.
Unanimous, Abi.
I wanted to correct from the analyst in our studio.
Okay.
And secondly, we have to be very calm. We have to allow INEC, to do their job. If you can check the result all over the country, you can see that there is a reflection of the people win from different angles that we can see results are coming now. It reflects, what people vote. So we have to allow that system to come to an end. We should not jeopardize it by making some, comments that will create more chaos in the country. Thank you.
Thank you too. Well appreciated. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, please. Good morning to you.
It's been a long while. I've been trying to talk to you, but you don't pick my call.
It's good to have you here finally.
I'm totally disappointed. In my entire life, to be honest with you, I've never voted. My name is Michael, by the way.
Good to have you.
Yesterday, I tried. Yeah, that was Saturday. I tried as much as I can to go and vote. But at the end of the day, my vote is not counting. Is this how we're going to run this country?
Where is your local government?
It's in the mainland. Yeah.
Is it mainland local government, Abi?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this how this country is going to be run? Thereby, you enforce people to do what they don't want to do. Is this our country? Wait, let me ask you a question, Mr. Sherif. Is this how they run democracy in other countries? Huh? Please, I want to give me an answer. Is this how democracy? Don't the people have their mandate? Don't they have their right to decide on who they want to be their president or who they want to rule them? I go to enforce people to do what they want to do. This is appalling. In fact, I'm just speechless. What kind of a nation is this? Eh? You enforce people, even while you are ruling them and they don't like your kind of government, you still want them by force to... No. Someday I just believe this will stop. Somehow
It will. It will.
Mm.
It will. Thank you. And Ufouma, let's quickly jump on that because I got similar reaction. I know that there are hundreds, maybe thousands, or even maybe millions who share the same sentiment, that frustration, that anger. And I was saying this morning, and I told people that I was going to address this, fully this hour, and that is the anger and frustration that is boiling inside people right now. Is making, I see a lot of people saying that they're not even going to bother to vote again. And I was telling them that, look, you can't.
That's exactly what the politicians
you
want.
can't give them what they want.
Yep. That's exactly what they want.
The way they have coconut head
You
is
too
the
should
way
have
you too should
coconut-
have coconut head.
See,
that you want this country to be better, and nobody would frustrate you and discourage you.
the more people come out to vote, the more they come out to vote, the lesser the chances of getting rigged out or having all of these issues. Sherif, the honest truth is that to a large extent, as a result of the Electoral Act 2022, some of the processes that many of the politicians, have been accustomed to have been cut off.
Right.
So they've devised new means. And the new means is collusion with some INEC officials to disenfranchise voters, not even on election day. From the get-go, see, whether you want to admit it or not, some of these election officers, or INEC officers or INEC officials, I'm not talking the chairman.
Yeah.
I'm talking the staff, in the local government and office.
They've been strategically placed.
Exactly, by some of these politicians. Some of these politicians actually gave them these jobs. So they're actually loyal not to the country, but loyal to those politicians. So that's why you can see in certain areas, people's PVCs will be thrown away. Or that's why you see in some areas, you go and go and go, and you will not get your PVC because somebody somewhere has allegedly...
Hold your thought. Let's head out. We'll take this break. We'll be back.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Guy, I'm in front of your house.
God! What is this I'm looking at?
How fun.
Last. Now you this changer at the pillow. Wait, wasn't it 2 days ago that you bashed your car? And now you're driving another one?
Oh boy, now blessings on blessings on blessings.
Hey! You just upgraded like that.
Guy, I beg be quiet. Is that how people buy cars? It's the car my insurance company, AXA Mansa, gave me while my car is getting fixed.
It's a lie. AXA Mansa gave you makeshift car.
Yeah.
The same company that took your car to Better Auto Shop all within 24 hours. Guy, why you not show me the way? Before my insurance company make me pack car for 3 months, they jump bus round Lagos.
AXA Mentored Moto Insurance is the one-time insurance feels like an upgrade and leaves you wanting to say thank you for what you truly deserve. Visit www.axamentor.com or call 0700 AXA Mentor today. AXA Mentor.
Book a ride on Anaya to move around Lagos. From Lekki to Oshodi, from anywhere to everywhere. Try Anaya and you won't go back to your old ways of moving around Lagos. Hurry and download Anaya app today and get your first ride for free using the promo code First Ride. Anaya, ANAYER. The power to move.
I have sent my account.
To where?
Better send your own.
To where now?
I will collect mine and leave you.
From where and when?
You like questions, Sha.
I like answers better.
Questions are important as the answers you get. It takes 1,460 days to determine if you are right or wrong. Choose to be right. Choose to vote. Choose not to sell your vote. Choose democracy. Choose to win. Win because you can vote and choose.
This message is brought to you by the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria.
Book a ride on Anaya to move around Lagos. From Lekki to Oshodi, from anywhere to everywhere. Try Anaya and you won't go back to your old ways of moving around Lagos. Hurry and download Anaya app today and get your first ride for free using the promo code First Ride. Anaya, ANAYER. The power to move.
move. There is a huge difference between the relative experience of salary earners and those of business owners and entrepreneurs. Someone who has never had cause to set up a business of his, who has never had cause to source for funds, turn it around, pay salaries, pay back the loan, and still make profit cannot be expected to be hands-on when saddled with an economy the size of Lagos. Experience that hasn't curbed Lagos's traffic in 24 years of their reign. Experience that hasn't addressed Lagos's perennial flood. Experience that currently leaves us with over 2 million out-of-school children. The duo of Jando and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing people with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jando as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Every Nigerian wants to see transparency in the collation of election results. To achieve this, INEC has introduced a dedicated public election results viewing portal known as the INEC Results Viewing Portal, IREV. Here are some benefits of the portal. 1. Enable Nigerians to view polling unit results in real time as voting ends on election day. 2. It enables reduced misinformation from some fake news portals on the internet. 3. It will also and enhance transparency of the system. Viewing election results is now as easy as ABC by following these steps. 1. Visit INECelectionresults.ng.com. 2. Click on Create New Account using your Gmail address. 3. Fill in your details on the form provided and click Sign In. 4. Provide your state of origin and click on Continue. 5. Activate your account with the email sent to you via the email address provided on the form. 6. Check your email and correctly copy out the activation code, which will then be entered into the text box provided on the portal. 7. Click Activate. 8. You will then be logged into the portal and you can now select the election results you wish to view. You can also use the filter button to make the search easier, and voila! You can now monitor election results in real time. With IREV, every Nigerian can be part of the entire election process. Your vote counts. Use it wisely.
The numbers are out. And Nigeria Info is your number one station for talk. Number one. Listen on the air and online via mobile app. Search Nigeria Info FM on Google Play Store and iOS App Store. Download the app and have us with you wherever you go. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
It's 9 o'clock. The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
INEC to resume announcement of presidential result this morning. Major parties disagree over Saturday's election coverage. INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Rivers, Johnson Alalibo, sues for patience. INEC cancels 18 polling units result over thuggery and failure of presiding officer to operate the BVAS correctly in Kogi. Atiku Abubakar defeats Bola Tinubu in Buhari's state Katsina. Labour Party presidential candidate is leading in Edo as collation of results continues. Governor Ayade loses Senate bid as Agom Igjarigbe clinches seat in Northern Senatorial District of Cross River. Presidential candidate of Labour Party takes early lead with over 1,000 votes in 17 local government areas. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, re-elected in Yobe North. Atiku takes early lead in results for 5 out of 23 local government areas announced in Kaduna. Former Governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, declared winner in Ogun East Senatorial District. APC candidate Ademorin Kuye wins Shemolu Federal Constituency House of Reps. Banki W and Obanikoro lose as Labour Party wins Etiosa Reps seat. Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi loses Senate bid to Labour Party's Oke Ezia. On the foreign scene, nearly 60 people killed off Italy coast of Calabria in a migrant boat shipwreck. Final talks on another island post-Brexit deal as UK Prime Minister meets EU chief. Police say Thai drug dealer underwent several facial surgeries to evade the law. And in sports, Manchester United win first trophy of the season. Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul by split decision in boxing history. Remember, elections have consequences. We appreciate you for casting your ballot. Let's wait patiently for the result to be announced by INEC. I'm Sherif, and it's back to Monday's 23 coverage here on Nigeria Info 99.3.
Our website, nigeriainfo.fm, is a trusted platform for more intellectual, trending, and exclusive stories with up-to-date analysis. We are not just the talk station of the nation. We are your number one talk station. Join the league of fans consuming great news at www.nigeriainfo.fm and get rewarded for your time. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
The race is on, and Nigerians will decide. People's voice and verdict.
They are not going to the ward. Nobody is collecting from any ward. I have been in a polling unit where the INEC officials, the party agents, and the voters are all complicit.
Citizens and their mandate.
People don't really know. Nigerians don't really know what governance is.
They have described the process. It's really very seamless. I would want to believe that everyone would take advantage of this opportunity.
Nigeria Info Election Day Studios presents The Mandate 23. Minute-by-minute election day coverage, 36 states and the FCT. Sheriff Quadry, Jimmy Disu, Ireti Bakare, Marian Okon, Joyce Oyemua, Sandra Ezekwesili, and Ufouma Egbamuno with data analysis in real time. Date, Saturday, February 25th and Sunday, February 26th. Join the conversation live from 5 a.m. The Mandates 23. It's a marathon. This is the Mandates 23. The Mandates 23. Live.
Welcome to the Mandate 23 studios here on Nigeria Info 99.3. Sherif Quadry here, Ufouma Egbamuno. Also here, he is our news manager, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, and Nigeria Info Lagos. I can see your calls, but we are on a particular trajectory right now, and I would love for Ufouma to land on it. And that is about the pent-up frustration, your anger, your disappointment, and what it could mean for the growth of democracy in Nigeria.
Yeah, Sheriff, I was saying that some of these anger and frustrations are valid. People had high expectations, which is why I would not necessarily rate INEC that high, irrespective of some of the good things, I think I've seen in this 2023 elections. They also disappointed in certain areas, including, logistics issues and, some of the officials not doing what, was supposed to have been done. That added up to the frustrations, because if you did all you needed to do, come out on the day, wait for hours. Some waited as late as 5-6 p.m. to actually start voting process. In fact, in some areas, they waited till the next day to actually do that. If you went through all of that, you saw the video and picture of the woman somewhere right around our neighborhood here in the Elegushi area, who was attacked, but she still came back, to express her civic responsibility. If you're that kind of a person, and then after you've done and made all those sacrifices, you now hear or you now suspect that what you think should have happened is not happening, you will feel frustrated, Sheriff. Or if you're like the woman who called the newsroom on Saturday from somewhere in Mafoluku, I think I've forgotten Old Ewu Road or something she said, and they were done with their elections. It was just about time to sort things out, and then thugs just came from nowhere, didn't bother about the other National Assembly elections, just went straight to the presidential ballot box, poured out all the ballot papers on the floor, put petrol on it, and put it on fire. If you're a voter in that kind of axis, of course you will feel frustrated. Of course you will feel aggrieved, that this had to happen. However, we should also remember that two wrongs don't make a right. You're not going to use violence to pay back violence. Let's tone down on some of the rhetorics. Let's tone down on sharing unsubstantiated videos, and that annoys me a lot. You see something, I think there's a video that was trending that it was some vote manipulation in the southeast. Apparently, if you check through, that video was not from the southeast, was actually from somewhere in Edo State. So a lot of persons have been throwing out a lot of these either fake news or disinformation just to set agendas here and there.
I've seen a video where people were thumbprinting allegedly from the north, and the person that posted the video said it was from the north for this election, and someone disproved that by saying that election is actually that particular video is actually an old video.
So people have been doing that a lot. Just go back from their archives, just because they want to set narratives. However, going back to the frustrations, Sheriff, I was talking about how disenfranchisation doesn't even start on election day.
Right.
Sometimes it starts way before. It starts from not allowing some persons to register. And after you've registered, ensuring that you don't get your PVCs. Because remember, INEC has insisted over time that you can't vote without PVCs.
Right.
So when you are denied getting your PVC, it's possibly an alleged, alleged not the word, a possible disenfranchisation. Let's also not forget, to be fair to INEC, some persons who didn't get their PVCs is not because somebody wanted to disenfranchise them. Some of them registered twice. Some of them had registered before, possibly got old PVCs or didn't get, and instead of asking to get to have those old ones printed, they went to register a second time, ensuring that they had double registration. And as a result of that, INEC cannot give you double registration. As I speak, I registered way back in 2011, somewhere around the Ogba Ags. Yeah, before the 2011 election, somewhere around the Ogba axis, because that's where I used to live. I voted, with the temporary card at the time, But after the 2011 elections, I moved from Lagos to Port Harcourt, and I stayed there for almost 7 years. So as a result of that, I've not been able to actually go to Ogba, to actually, or somewhere around there to get my PVCs. I have to also admit it's my own procrastination. I possibly should have done the transfer, to get my PVC. Do you get? Because I would have, but I didn't make the mistake of going to register a second time around the Tiosa because I now live around this axis. Some persons did that, and that's why they are unable to get their PVCs. But back to the subject of of possible disenfranchisation. That could have happened in collusion with some INEC officials. And then on election day, you also notice that in some areas, these politicians are really smart. All of them, or almost all of them, from across parties, they can do and undo, like we say in local parlance. And because for a lot of them, politics is a job. Politics is a livelihood. Their lives and their spendings and everything about them depends on the funds they get from politics and government. Sheriff, they will do anything to remain in power. So they will do anything to ensure that, let me look at Koshofe. Koshofe is the area where the ruling party possibly has more numbers. So as the opposition, let's find a way to ensure that we send thugs to go disrupt elections there, because we know that most people in that axis will vote for the APC. We've seen that happen. Or
voter suppression.
Exactly. Or the Agor Palace mile 2 Festac axis. We know that to a large extent, a lot of the voters, and you've also seen it in this election, a lot of the voters there usually do not vote the APC or the ACN or AD or whatever nomenclature they've had over the years. So what do? Ensure that maybe we frustrate sending materials to them, or if they're supposed to have 20, we send 15. Do you understand? That's why there was the huge cry about MC Olomo and the Lagos Parks, not being involved with it, even though INEC kept saying no, they are not part of it.
Right.
The reason the opposition was crying out is because they know that this guy is already openly partisan to one party. If you allow him be the one to be in charge of distributing election materials, there's a huge possibility he would possibly send materials to areas he knows the ruling party has strength and not send to areas he knows the opposition is the opposition's stronghold. So all of these things all together, has made some of the pent-up frustrations get higher, Sheriff.
Right, indeed. Let's take a few calls. We're going to take a few calls now, after which, of course, would continue with our conversation on the assessment of elections of Saturday, okay? And please mind your language when you call. That is very, very important. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Quadry.
Good morning.
Good morning to the gentleman in the studio.
Good morning.
Quadry, this election has disappointed almost all the young ones and made the older women that your vote cannot count. You knew how people mobilize themselves to go and vote. And the president announced that they'll use military to counter anything. And you said the change of currency is because of not for them to buy votes. Money still change hands. Policemen with uniform were escorting talks to carry ballot papers. It's all over the internet. The INEC chairman could not say anything. Results were not collected at the polling unit. You announced that once you finish voting, stand there for them to send the results. And now you say the system were bad. Police escorted them to go and send results. So tell me how you want to convince people again that this system is real, is going to work. In what manner or ways you want to tell them? That's why I keep saying the elderly ones that are controlling us teach the younger ones how to do bad. In the same country, they are trained to be nice. Look at just a mode of here in First Stack. There were no materials till 3 o'clock in an urban area where there is no boat or rain or bad roads that you say that it's because of this that you could not get there. Something you are planning for 4 years. For 4 years. Then what pains me the most is that the INEC officials that don't even have money, that the salary of pay them will not last for 3 weeks, were compromised. You can see how the system works.
Thank you.
You can see how the young ones of 10 years will say, I will do it the way they are doing it before.
Thank you. Thank you for your thought. Let's take another call. Good morning to you.
Hello, Sheriff.
Good morning.
This is Joy.
Welcome, Joy.
I've been very down since on Saturday because of all these issues. I convinced as many people I know I could convince, even those I don't like, don't want to vote. And this is what we are hearing. My own issue is this, okay? This Beavers not being able to upload whatever. What Mahmoud should do, if he's listening, he should please allow those who have the evidences, the officers that have the evidences of what was signed before they went to the collision center. That is what should be used, because you told us that we should stay back and make sure these things are uploaded. So why, and you said network is not going to be a problem, so why would they say network was a problem for every one of them? And it is even peculiar to Rivers State, to Lagos State, and to some places, So for me, I feel this is a very big sabotage. It makes it look like INEC is working, together with, I don't know, the opposition parties or whatever. Please, he shouldn't even start saying they're announcing those results because of these anomalies that happened. Okay, what about places where the people voted? After voting, they burnt those votes. What is going to happen in those areas? And they are trying to fight to get 25%. So where are those numbers coming from? Where Labour Party or other parties are supposed to have higher numbers, but because of their votes, their ballot papers were burnt, and Mahmoud is not saying anything about those things. So this is my concern.
All right.
And we don't want to wait and start waiting for tribunal.
All right.
And must we always wait for tribunal?
All right, Joy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to answer that about areas that had this kind of issues, and what INEC is going to do, it's very simple, and INEC has said it repeatedly. If at the end of the day, when the final results are tallied, and the margin of victory for one of the candidate over the other is lesser than those total number of areas that have issues, that candidate cannot be declared winner. Elections will now be organized for those areas to ensure that there's a fair balance. For example, if Tinubu has 200 votes and the next person has 180, and the elections are not holding in places that has about 50 votes, 50 is bigger than the 20 margin of difference. So elections in those places will take place.
Lagos would like to link up to Abuja now, where the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, they are currently having a press conference, and we'll come back in a moment. So let's join the PDP Presidential Campaign Council press briefing.
You are getting my attention.
Elections will come, results of election are known before 7 p.m. yesterday at the election day. Tell us in confidence who is leading in states. Say, for instance, in Sokoto, this is it. In Castilla, this is it. But you're not giving us so that you can be able to proactive. When INEC is doing this, the statements for you released, the statements you released in the morning first, for you released, and others released, if you go through it, it is clear that PDP is winning. Let's be honest, we are teaching people wrong things.
You know we won't.
We are not, you are not, we are not expected to politics, but to teach us out wrong things. What I want you to do,
allow him now.
Can you, for instance, help us by saying, in this state, this we are living, in this state we are living, to guide us in our report.
Okay, thank you. No, just a minute, please. Let me respond. Have confidential conversation, but I want to assure you, as I said, it is very clear. This I can say on air is that in the southwest, APC has been fatally wounded in Lagos. They needed to have millions of votes. There is no way they are getting it. Labour put up a spectacular display in Lagos, and we must all salute them, despite the fact that we are not in the same party. In Oyo State, we did very well. In Ondo, in Ogun, in Osun, in Ekiti. So it tells you that there is a pattern, that we are the only pan-Nigerian political party today. Apart from Southeast, there is no part of Nigeria that PDP did not have a good showing. There is none. Only South-South, where, of course, Obi got a clean sweep. So that's as far as I can go publicly. When we meet, I can tell you we have our liaison offices all across Nigeria. Our party, made sure that the investment they made in all those places, now we are reaping it because they are sending us all the original documents from there. We have it. Thank you. Yes, please. Please introduce yourself.
Yes. My name is
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes. Yesterday, during the press conference addressed at National Commission Center INEC chairman, it was expressly clear that only results that I believe from INEC should be taken. APC has been
Atiku is the president. And as far as INEC is concerned, only result from one state, Ekiti, has so far been released.
It is not true.
Officially, only one result from Ekiti has been released, and the inoculation center recompensed by the 11th December. I'm wondering, what is the source of this result that people are banding up and down? Could you please speak to the thank you?
The same electoral law tells you that you are free to wait while the votes are being counted. Did it not say so? We have, you can see that we've not given you figures. We only told you we're doing well. Don't we have a right to tell you? Did I tell you we're doing well in Southeast? I didn't say so. We said we are doing well. Extremely well. In Osun State, we have a sitting governor, okay? Dr. Ademola Nuruddin Adeleke, who has delivered Osun State. We are doing well. I didn't give you figures. So we know where we're doing well. We know where we're not doing well. And when you compute everything, we can tell you that we are the first to cross the 25% in 24 states. And we've checked on the others because we have our own records. And we can see that there is no way they can cross that 25% in 24 states. That's what we have said. We have not declared any results. Have you heard anything from Atiku Abubakar? He is a global statesman. He is quietly sitting in his home and waiting for what God will do. He is not desperate. The only places where you had riots were in APC-controlled states. In Lagos, in Kano, in Kogi. Did you hear that anybody carried gun in Adamawa State? No. The answer is no. Atiku Abubakar has never been desperate. He knows he has worked very well, and that is why we say, the man of destiny, his time has come, and we're very proud. It will be a sweet story.
Only
to
one
tell.
station gives you great talk every day.
On the show yesterday, you spoke about the tariff hike, electricity tariff hike.
Yes.
I'm hearing news today that it's been postponed till next year.
City of Lagos, did I say it yesterday? I am a prophet.
Hear the news and tell us your views.
Congratulations once again to Liverpool. Despite the disastrous outing they had tonight.
Your number one station for talk.
The government should give a guideline for organizations, yes, to implement, reduce the spread of coronavirus in your group, in your companies. Here in Group, we've done
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
There is a huge difference between the relative experience of salary earners and those of business owners and entrepreneurs. Someone who has never had cause to set up a business of his, who has never had cause to source for funds, turn it around, pay salaries, pay back the loan, and still make profit cannot be expected to be hands-on when saddled with an economy the size of Lagos. Experience that hasn't curbed Lagos's traffic in 24 years of their reign. Experience that hasn't addressed Lagos's perennial flood. Experience that currently leaves us with over 2 million out-of-school children. The duo of Jando and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing people with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jando as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
With 3 spectacular debaters, Group C of the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions could be a fight to the finish. Emmanuel Nadi has only ever lost once to Tamvita Kaushik. She's here to prove that she can beat anyone on a good day. Nicholas Musokoya barely missed the August 2022 final, but gave us fireworks along the way. He would have met Fabian Chibundu in that final, but now they will lock horns at the Tournament of Champions. Fabian, the only boy champion, must fend off these 2 challengers if he wants to be Champion of Champions. This March, it's the I Beg to Differ Tournament of Champions on 99.3 Nigeria Info and Wazobia Max TV.
Everyone is at the table for lunch. Mom is bringing in the jollof rice. And then...
Hey, John!
Sorry, Mom.
Hello? Can I order some jollof rice to be delivered?
Mama saves the day. Lunch is here.
Mom, I got some Coke too.
Just come and eat, Joe.
Cook up memorable moments because family lunch and an ice cold Coke make a recipe for wonder. Coca-Cola.
Milk that is carefully formulated to retain its creaminess and great taste. Cowbell evaporated milk. So creamy, so good. Cowbell, I wanna milk. So special to us. Golden more. So special to us. I can't afford a day without this goodness in the bowl. Giving energy to make it stay golden. Golden more. So special to us.
At Access, we are 28,000 employees, 180,000 agents, 700 branches, 180,000 connected POS, and 2,883 ATMs strong, serving our more than 52 million customers in Africa, Europe, Asia, and UAE, across 17 countries. With a total asset of 15 trillion naira, we are the largest bank in Nigeria and top 10 in Africa. So, to the determined side hustler, the happy-go-lucky youth, the tech-savvy entrepreneur, the moms and dads with bright lives to build, the market woman with big dreams for growth, the global citizens with their roots in our soils, we are here to stay. Through thick and thin, we stand with you. Access. More than banking.
There is a huge difference between the relative experience of salary earners and those of business entrepreneurs. Someone who has never had cause to set up a business of his, who has never had cause to source for funds, turn it around, pay salaries, pay back the loan, and still make profit cannot be expected to be hands-on when saddled with an economy the size of Lagos. Experience that hasn't curbed Lagos's traffic in 24 years of their reign. Experience that hasn't addressed Lagos's perennial flood. Experience that currently leaves us with over 2 million out-of-school children. The duo of Jando and Funke have been investing in Lagos's economy for about 2 decades, running their personal businesses, employing peoples with track records of success. Lagos needs a breath of fresh air. Vote Dr. Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran Jando as Governor of Lagos State. PDP! Power to the people!
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
The race is on, and Nigerians will decide. People's voice and verdict.
They are not going to the ward. Nobody is collecting from any ward. I have been in a polling unit where the INEC officials, the party agents, and the voters are all complicit.
Citizens and their mandate.
People don't really know. Nigerians don't really know what governance is.
They have described the process. It's really very seamless. I would want to believe that everyone will take advantage of this opportunity.
Nigeria Info Election Day Studios presents The Mandate 23. Minute-by-minute election day coverage, 36 states and the FCT. Sherif Quadry, Jimmy Disu, Ireti Bakare, Marian Okon, Joyce Oyemua, Sandra Ezekwesili, and Ufouma Egbamuno with data analysis in real time. Date, Saturday, February 25th and Sunday, February 26th. Join the conversation live from 5 a.m. The Mandate 23. It's a marathon. This is the Mandate 23. The Mandate 23. Live.
Mandate 2023 studios here on Nigeria Info 99.3. It's 9:32. We were with the PDP PCC in Abuja. Then we had to quickly head out to take a break before we could return. They had finished their press conference as the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Well, hopefully we'll keep an eye on the results announcement both in Lagos and in Abuja. Lagos has announced results of some local government areas in Lagos. 18 down, 2 more to go. Let's start from there. I'm going to go through some of the results that have come in, just so people can understand where we're headed next, and they can follow through with us. Let's start with, because these results have been announced by INEC Lagos. That's why we are able to announce this result.
Yep.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to tell you anything. So here we go with this one here. Lagos Mainland, APC 20,000, LP 18,000 plus, PDP 3,000 plus. This is going to take a whole day, so let's just leave it, right? But then what we can tell you is that 18 local government areas have been announced.
So just 2 left.
2 left now. That's Alimosho and Ojo. With the results announced, let me give you the total, the summation of the results announced. Thus far, APC is leading with 488,063. LP is following suit with 471,944. And PDP with 63,773. So it's been a close one between APC and LP.
Yep, Sheriff, no surprises. If you remember the last time I was here, I think it was last week, yeah? Last week, Monday.
Yes, it was last week. Yeah.
I did tell you that if PDP and anybody in the PDP fold were expecting to get anything from Lagos, they probably do not know,
Does that shock you, though?
It doesn't, that's what I'm saying.
I'm shocked.
Why are you shocked? I told you already last week, Monday.
If anybody were to lose the election to the ruling party APC, especially the PDP, it shouldn't be this margin.
Maybe you are shocked because you've not been following the trend. Let's not forget, Lagos is a cosmopolitan city. And I've said this repeatedly. Lagos is the exact replica of Nigeria. You have different ethnic groups in Lagos. You've got Igbos, you've got Yorubas, you've got Edo people, you've got my people Isoko, you've got Urobo, you've got the Hausa, the Arewa community. It's maybe Abuja is the next place that will have the kind of multi dimensional ethnicity that we have in Lagos. So Lagos is not, you are not going to judge Lagos based on what you probably would get in the southeast or what you probably would get in other southwest states. It's totally different. Now, as a result of that, you have more enlightened people, you have more middle class people who are not going to be swayed by your 3,000 naira or 5,000 naira vote buying tactics. That's one. On another hand, you also have an entrant into the polity who has that power to energize voters. And that's what you've been seeing with who knew Labour Party 4 years ago. Matter of fact, who literally really gave two spaghettis about Labour Party just about 8 months ago. Not many. But you're seeing the rise of Labour Party in Lagos because of one singular person, the presidential flag bearer. He used to be with the PDP. So a lot of the votes he is getting in Lagos are votes that traditionally go to the PDP.
I don't think so.
I know so.
I don't
I'm
think
saying
so.
traditionally go to the PDP. Go back to the 2015 or 2019 elections. The margin between APC and PDP is also almost similar to what you are seeing with APC and LP now. The margin is not so wide. In 2015, I think it was about 130,000 difference. In 2019, I think it was a little less. Lagos has never been a state where one person has a clear cut victory and the other doesn't. It's always been that close. But it's always been between the APC or ACN AD as it used to be, and the PDP. Now, I'm saying that a lot of those votes that traditionally go to the PDP have now switched from the PDP to Peter Obi, who is now in the Labour Party. That's on one hand. On the other hand, the man has also been able to energize a new set of voters. Young people who usually don't care about elections, but you saw them last year rushing to go and register. You saw them at the forefront of trying to get their PVCs. He's also energized disgruntled Nigerians who are tired. I'm talking Lagos now, who are tired of the ruling party and also tired of the PDP. That's what you're seeing happen right. In fact, some would argue that if not for the voter suppression and some disenfranchisement in some areas, that possibly the margin could even be more than you're actually seeing, Sheriff.
So quick one, right? Are we saying that?
Sorry, just to wrap up on that.
Right.
Compare the numbers in Lagos with Ekiti, Ondo, Osun, Oyo. You will see that these other southwestern states are not as cosmopolitan as Lagos. Notice that in these other 5 southwest states, the battle is between the two traditional political parties, APC and PDP.
Well, so the reason why I said I don't think so is analysts have said this elections basically is not being decided according to party lines.
I agree.
That it's been decided majorly according to based on ethnic lines and religious lines. So, and that's why I said I don't think so, because it seemed as though people made...
You're contradicting yourself a little. Let me tell you why you're contradicting yourself.
Right.
A large number of the PDP votes in Lagos come from a particular tribe, the Igbo people. Traditionally, they vote PDP. No doubt. A lot of them who used to vote PDP in Lagos are now the ones voting the LP. So you're right. It's still on those lines, those traditional ethnic religious lines. It's also being influenced by new voters. It's also being influenced by people disgruntled, tired of the traditional parties.
If we're looking at the current result, I know we still have
2 local governments to go.
Two more to go. Alimosho is huge.
Ojo is also huge. I think that they are just about the 2 largest local governments.
Very large local government areas, and that's why this delay is there. And so we're not going to underplay the impacts they would have.
They would definitely have impact
on the overall elections. But from what we've seen thus far, and the cry of sabotage, the cry of voter suppression, and all of that. I mean, you could literally see that Labour Party won by really, really ridiculously wide margin in some local government areas, right? What would you say to that argument that there's been a substantial level of voter suppression in Lagos?
So again, we do not have data, so we're only going to be relying on reports from our correspondents, reports from some of our other colleagues, and then eyewitness reports that we've gotten, since Saturday. Yes, indeed, there was voter suppression. We are not going to run away from that. But let's also add that it was not just in Lagos. It also happened in a couple of other states. Kogi comes to mind readily. In fact, that ridiculous thing.
That was ridiculous. Oh my! No.
Yeah, governor just woke up.
That was like, even in the 67, I'm not sure that anybody even thought of doing such a thing. Like,
Chef, if like I know the two I want talk. I just remember that I'm on air.
Shamefully ridiculous.
But as much as we're laughing about it, it's one of the heights of ridiculousness I've seen. You woke up a day to the election, you went to break up roads that leads to the areas of your opponents, all in the name of we want to stop terrorists. Like, you think Nigerians are children that you can just tell them any nonsense and they will listen to you. You know, but those are the kind of things that we've come to see. So yes, Sheriff, there was voter suppression. You've heard a few of the callers. You've been hearing reports, you know, since Saturday. People angry that they feel their votes did not count. You know, there's also the allegations. We'll have to wait and prove whether it is true or not. There are also those allegations that even some of the numbers that have eventually been put out that may have had some distortions here and there, you know. And then when you go back to the issue of some of these presiding officers not uploading the results in real time, you know, some would argue that, well, did something happen between then and when it was finally collated and now being announced? We can never say for sure. All we can do here is just sit, wait, you know, for the data to actually come out, and then we'll know what to say. But you can't run away from the fact that there was indeed thuggery, voter suppression, you know, and deliberate disenfranchisement of voters.
We can't discuss all of this without mentioning the role that the people played, the conduct of the electorates themselves. So it was doing me like magic, and I wasn't surprised per se. I was just it was just the resilience of people that really caught my attention.
Sherry, for 2 years on Nigeria Info, Cool FM, and Wazobia, which, by the way, are three of the biggest, arguably the three biggest radio stations in Lagos.
That's right.
You have been telling them for 2 years, elections have consequences. Go out and make your vote count. Do you think that campaign did not work? It absolutely did. And I have to say kudos to everybody in the CWIA group, you know, all of our broadcasters, and of course the newsroom. It's been a campaign we've been running for God knows how long, and people are listening. So when you are telling people that their vote will count, you are giving them enough confidence. That's why you see that there's, unlike 2019, even though again all of the numbers are not out, but I think unlike 2019 when there was voter apathy, there were more people out to vote in 2023 because people believe that, oh, my vote this time will count. And that's, see, if things are done right and there's fairness in the election process, trust me, nobody will fight. If you come out and vote and your opponent loses or your opponent wins, you congratulate the person and go away, because you know that the process that brought that person was fair and just. It's just that you didn't get the number or he didn't get the number. The issue most Nigerians have is when they see that there's some abracadabra or wayo or mago, you know, in the process that leads up to someone like Banky W, for example, who lost the federal constituency in Etiosa, is still fuming because there were a lot of polling units on this Etiosa axis where elections did not take place. And he believes that possibly if elections had taken place in those polling units, he possibly would have had the numbers. I think he got about 16,000 votes. The winner got about 21 or thereabout thousand votes, you know. So you could argue that maybe the numbers were not so wide.
If the numbers were going to favor anybody, I mean, if he's saying that it's because of that he lost, then that number should have favored the ruling party and not Labour.
Well, maybe. You know, maybe. By the end of the day, I would think that, yes, me thinking...
I mean, this is overall performance of the PDP we're talking about in Lagos.
Exactly.
So have they really done anything extraordinary?
Overall, maybe no. But I'm talking specifically about Etiosa, where I think he did a lot of grassroots campaigning. But the problem for him, sadly, was that a lot of the persons who voted in this federal constituency just voted based on the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. So it was a top to bottom. I can tell you the number of our colleagues who just went out to vote and just did LP or PDP. Do you understand? So, and that's what many people do. In fact, you can't imagine the number of calls we got in the newsroom on Saturday where people are calling and say, oh my, they not put Labour Party for some The reason they didn't put Labour Party in some of those areas was because the Labour Party did not have candidates. What does that tell you? It meant that if the Labour Party had candidates in the
they
House
would have voted for the person.
straight up, the same
even if they don't know the person.
Exactly. That's what would have happened.
So we have posts on Twitter now, and people were saying, I don't even know this guy. That's what people are saying. Like, I don't even know this person.
The governor of Enugu State just lost his senatorial bid to the Labour Party in the southeast, in Enugu. It's not because, maybe, I don't know, I don't know the candidate, but maybe he probably is not as popular as the governor. But the people that came out in Enugu to vote on Saturday were just doing one simple thing. This, that. Remember I was telling you in the newsroom some days ago that that's the reason the people that killed that House Senate, the person that was contesting in Enugu. That's the reason he was killed. Because it was glaring and it was obvious that the man was going to win the election in that Enugu senatorial district. Again, not necessarily because of he probably would have added 1 or 2 votes, but also based on top to bottom. It happened in 2015. A lot of the guys who won elections up north for the APC in the House of Reps and Senate did not win it because they were that great candidate. They won because of the wave of Buhari. So you had a situation where the APC was getting large number of lawmakers in the north, while the PDP was getting large number of lawmakers in the south, because the south was voting Jonathan at the time. It also happened in Ekiti. You just mentioned it. Ekiti had all their lawmakers APC. They had PDP lawmakers, but the PDP lawmakers lost this time around because a son of the soil, so to speak, is in contention. And so to a large extent, some of the votes in Ekiti were based on that. The same way tribal sentiments came into play in the southeast Enugu that we're talking about, is the same way it also will come into play in Ekiti. So people are just voting Tinubu, House of Rep, Senate. They don't possibly, they might not possibly care about who the candidate actually is.
Let's take a few calls as we go along. I was going to ask you about, so you know what? You have to be very brief about this one. The performance of security agencies, the police and the military.
This is a tough one. You know why I think it's a tough one? It's a tough one for me because I am only going to be judging based on reports from Lagos. So it might be an unfair judgment
overall assessment.
Exactly. If I'm judging based in Lagos, I think that they could have done better. All the incidents of voter suppression, disruption of elections, in some cases police officers were actually there. In fact, you saw videos of someone threatening voters, and he was the police guy who was literally begging the guy not to go ahead with it. But also you can understand the challenge of the police because they are not allowed to hold firearms close to the polling unit. Again, for the military, I think they did well. At least one incident, the crazy incident we had in Ethiopia here, where lots of people could not vote. It was the military who came and ensured that finally people were able to come back and do their. So, but again, there's this sentiment that the police, especially in Lagos, are very quick to want to stop protests as opposed to voter suppression or issues of electoral
quick intervention.
Exactly. Because you look at some persons have actually been arrested by the police. According to the police, some persons have been arrested. But here's me thinking, you look at the tone of the police when it comes to issues about election violence, and then look at the tone from Hundeyin yesterday, the police spokesperson in Lagos, when he said that police had intel that there was going to be violence. Sherif, look at both tones. Really, there's some disparity. But again, I would say they did fair in some areas. They could have done better.
Ufouma, let's leave it here this morning. Marian Okon will be here much later on.
Come and buy me my breakfast.
Don't worry.
You promised. Let's go and eat because I'm hungry.
We'll go for breakfast now. You've done a good job. Marian
is at the door telling me you're not going anywhere. Stay here. Don't carry me now. I've only slept 2 hours since Saturday.
Thank you so much. Lagos, you have to go now. I will be back in a couple weeks' time because I need to go and take some rest.
You're leaving me here. Hey, Jesus.
I will be
I
back.
have to wait until after election. See, the speed I will take run.
So Marianne Okon will be in charge of the morning crossfire while I'm away. I know you're going to enjoy listening to her and having conversations with her. And she is here. I'll miss you all though. Yeah. What's that? Are you Kardashian now? Yeah. Okay. All right, Lagos. Have a good day and a pleasant week. Let's be mindful of our utterances and the news that we share on social media. Let's also have patience and allow INEC do their job, release the result, and be calm afterwards. The politicians, they know and understand the process. Any other person that is asking you to go and destroy things because he feels aggrieved, the result isn't going his way, doesn't like you. So let them take the proper channel, take whatever it is, their grievances through the proper channel, and refuse to be used to disrupt and cause disharmony in the public. I'm Sherif. I'll see you when I return.